Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about right angles. Remember yesterday we talked, well, I guess not yesterday, I guess on Friday we talked about angles, and that is where two straight lines meet at a point. So that's the angle. We talked about three different types of angles. We talked about acute angles, which are just cute little angles, which are less than 90 degrees. We talked about 90-degree angles, which are also called right angles. And then we talked about angles that are more than 90 degrees, which are obtuse angles, which are bigger angles. So I said to you, if you're trying to discover a 90-degree angle, remember yesterday I had that little tiny card? Okay, here's something you all have. You all have paper. If you look at your corners, any of the corners, okay, those are right angles. So if you're trying to judge a right angle, you can just use the corner of your sheet of paper, okay? So I'm on page 130 of your math textbook. They have A, B, C, D, E, and F, 6 different angles, and they want you to discover which one are the right angles. Remember I said to do that, take whatever you're using, and we're going to use this sheet of paper, line it up with one of the sides, and then see if both sides go along the edge. Well, you can see this side does, but this side is bigger. So this is an obtuse angle because it is bigger than 90 degrees. Okay? I'd like you to stop the video right now and check out these other 5 angles and see which ones you discover are right angles and which ones are not right angles. I'm going to tell you that 4 of these are right angles, 2 are not. We've already found out that A is an obtuse angle, so it is not. There is one other one that is not a right angle. Please don't just look at angles and try to tell if they're right or not. Sometimes when you're doing this and you're looking at printed angles, it's hard to tell. Now on something around your house, if you're looking at it, and I'm going to show you, let's go up to my pictures, okay? If you look at the corners on these pictures, those are right angles, okay? But, oh, I'm trying to think. If you look over on my mantle, those are still similar to right angles, but because they're not sharp edges, we're not going to take it, okay? On the edges of, this is not even a polygon because the edge of my whiteboard is rounded, so that's not a right angle, okay? So check it. I'm going to act as if you did. I'm putting my page in here, and you can see that both sides go along the edge of the paper. So B is a right angle. Look, I'm going to use a different corner to show you C. Let's put down in here for C. C is a right angle. Do you see how it follows along the edge of the paper? So B and C are right angles. Let's go with D. Again, I'm using a different corner. It goes along the edge. That's a right angle. Okay, let's go down here for E. Oh no, do you see how the edge is not here? It's smaller than a right angle, so it's an acute angle. It's just a cute little angle, so it's an acute angle. So E is not a right angle. And then F, we can see again it follows along the edge of our paper, so it is a right angle. Now, we were talking about quadrilaterals. Quad, Q-U-A-D, or 4 letters, are 4-sided figures. A square is a quadrilateral, and a rectangle is a quadrilateral. It says here, how many right angles can you find in a square and a rectangle? Well, in each of them, you're going to find 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles. Now, all squares are considered to be rectangles. Why? Because we have 4 right angles, and opposite sides are equal. Opposite sides are equal. But not all squares are rectangles, because in a square, all 4 angles are 90 degrees, but all sides are equal. Well, in a rectangle, all sides are not equal. Opposite sides are equal. And again, that would have been another set of definitions we would have written down on in your vocabulary book. So, on a rectangle, opposite sides are equal, and you have 4 right angles. On a square, all sides are equal, and you have 4 right angles. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Squares and rectangles are quadrilaterals, Q-U-A-D, relateral, okay? We talked about triangles, T-R-I, 3-sided figures. Now, it says, which of these triangles has a right angle? If it has a right angle, it is considered to be a right triangle. It will only have one right angle, because you can only have one right angle in a triangle. Now, let's test A, okay? I'm going to put my paper down here. Neither of these bottom ones will fit, as you can see. They're both smaller. And if I'm trying to do the top one, it's also smaller. See how you can see it coming in the inside? So all 3 of these are acute angles. So this is an acute triangle. Now, if I put my paper here, you can see how this follows along. So B is the right triangle. So which one has an angle greater than? Well, we knew all these were less than. These were all acute angles, so it's not A. B had one right triangle. The other 2 are acute. So let's put my paper down here, lining it up with this bottom. So you can see it goes with this, but this side is bigger. So this angle down here is an obtuse angle because it is bigger than this 90-degree angle that the paper makes. Okay? The other 2 angles in this are acute angles, but this is an obtuse triangle because it has one obtuse angle. An obtuse triangle, a right triangle, and an acute triangle. Now it wants to know, how many angles does each of these figures have? P. How many angles are there in P? I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? How many are right angles? Well, if we put our paper down here, we can see that this is a right angle. If we put our edge right here, we can see this is not, this goes along, but this is bigger. This is an obtuse angle. If we put this one up here, it's just slightly bigger. So even though it kind of looks like a right angle, this side came out, so this is an obtuse angle also. Obtuse and obtuse. And if we put this down here, you can see that this comes in, so this is an acute angle. So P has one right angle, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. How many angles does Q have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Q has 5 angles. How many are right? Well, I'm going to tell you this one looks like a right angle, so let's check it. And it is a right angle. This one looks bigger than a right angle. And I can see that it is. When I line up my side over here, do you see how this point comes down below? It should come straight across if it's a right angle. So this angle is an obtuse angle. Let's try this angle over here. This angle, it lines up here, but it should come straight up here if it was a right angle, and it comes out here. So this is also an obtuse angle. Okay, this top one here, it's also an obtuse angle. Do you see how it lines up here, but it comes out here? So that's also an obtuse angle. So again, right now, we only have one right angle, but we're going to check this angle over here. And that lines up with the paper perfectly. So this one and this one are both right angles. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles, 2 of which are right angles. Okay, R has 4 angles. Do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you check them, there are 2 right angles, these top 2. S has how many angles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3 of them are right angles. 1, 2 of them are obtuse angles. Okay? Now I'd like you to work on pages 148 through 150. So that's 148, 149, and 150 in your math workbook. Talk to you later.